Hi, everyone. Welcome to Spill the Tea Radio, where we interview awesome singers, songwriters, and those who influence their lives. Spill the Tea Radio explores the journey, creativity, and inspiration behind the songs. My next guest is a two-time Juno nominated contemporary roots artist. He has toured with Mavis Staples, Griffin, Michael Franti, and Lauren Daigle. His latest work, The Light Behind the Sun, produced by Rahki, is packed with African and Caribbean influences and flavors. He has backpacked through Trinidad and Ethiopia and translated his life experiences into music. So, let's spill the tea with I. Welcome, I.
Hey, what's up? What's up? How you doing?
I'm doing well, and I understand as of recording today, you've just come back from Japan, a little jet lagged, as you've said. So tell us about Japan. What were you doing there, and hopefully that's inspired some music too.
So I was representing a handful of artists. We were representing Canada at the World Expo 2025, and they built this island in Japan just to have all these countries all over the world. So I was one of the artists, the musicians that were there playing music representing Canada. So it was a phenomenal experience. I was there for about 11 days, and I'm a little topsy-turvy now because it's about 15-hour time difference. But it was an incredible experience. Japan is I didn't see all of it. I saw Osaka, Kyoto, and Tokyo, and the parts that I saw were just amazing and overwhelming and overstimulating, and just spent way too much money. But it was a phenomenal trip.
Well, those kinds of trips are for most people are once in a lifetime, but hopefully for you, on your tour dates, you'll get to play Japan a fair bit. I've heard from a number of artists that I've interviewed that have had record releases in Japan that Japanese really appreciate Canadian artists, and in particular the genres of music that we take over there. You backpacked uh, for quite a number of years, Trinidad, Ethiopia.
Wow.
Um, Tell us about the backpacking experience, and and what did that mean in your lifelong journey, and how did it help you write music?
So I did in order, I guess, was, let me think about this. Trinidad, then I did Ontario, which is extremely interesting trip, and I did Ethiopia, I believe, in that order. And they all taught me something different about myself. So I guess I'm one, I would people could call me a soul searcher, right? I'm like I'm always looking for deeper purpose, deeper meaning. What's the reason why we're here? How do you connect deeper to this mysterious life we're in? So these are things that intrigue me in life all the time. So backpacking was a way for me to explore my own identity, explore my own just who I am as a human being, not even as an artist at the time. At the time, I was just like, who am I as a person? You know what I mean? So in terms of like, I think it just helped me become a better man, a better human being, and it taught me more about the world around me, how to connect, how to be more intuitive. I think the biggest thing I built from that time period is my intuition, like just how I perceive spaces, how I perceive individuals, how I treat them, how I expect to be treated, for better or worse. Because I was privileged and lucky, however you want to look at it, to encounter kind people everywhere I went. You know what I mean? I had very limited bad experiences with bad people. I've had more bad experiences in like my hometown, my home city, than I've had like traveling abroad. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And that could just be the nature of the travels. But so connecting it to my music now, I really, whether it's a song about an individual relationship with me and my wife, let's say, or it's a song about like something I'm going through. I try to write songs that connect on a deeper human level. And because I believe that we are all like there's not that much that makes us different. I know we all want to think that way, but at the core of it, at the heart of it all, we're very similar. You know what I mean?
You are originally from Brampton,
Yeah.
Ontario, and I believe Brampton has just taken over the third largest city spot. You don't live there anymore, but you're originally from Brampton. When you were traveling to Ethiopia and Trinidad, what were the you mentioned like people are people no matter where you go. What were the main differences and similarities that you found between Brampton in Canada and Ethiopia and Trinidad?
Oh wow. Ooh. I don't, I grew up in Brampton, you know what I mean? I was born and raised Peel Memorial Hospital. And I was lucky. I consider it luck. Lucky enough when I was growing up that my community was multicultural, right? So I was obviously black. We had Indian friends, we had Chinese friends, we had white friends, we had mixed race friends. There were African people there, like people from the continent. So there for whatever reason where I grew up, there was just this hub of multiculturalism. So, going to so that allowed me to kind of just get a taste of the world immediately. When I was in Ethiopia, the only commonality that I can say, and this is going to sound weird, the easiest commonality I can say is music, right?
Mm.
Like the biggest song in Ethiopia at the time was Kanye West. You know what I mean? Uh, you got it. Well, I don't know what the song's called. Wait till I get my money right. I can't remember the title of the song is called, right? Whoa, that song was huge, right? It's like that song, it's not even an Ethiopian, that song and some Ethiopian jazz. I was into a lot of Ethiopian jazz at the time. Teddy Afro. Um, but Kanye West became the soundtrack of my trip in Ethiopia.
Mm.
And Beyonce was there for the millennium. So Ethiopia, excuse me, celebrates the millennium 7 years after us. So when it was 2007 for us, it was 2000 for them, right? Um, and music was something that while there, I latched onto. Like I burnt a bunch of Ethiopian jazz albums, but then walking on the street, they're listening to like Kanye West, right? So it was fascinating. Trinidad, same thing. For me, I'm looking at it from my point of view, but wherever you go, whether you're in a taxi cab, a tap tap, or um, music is playing, and there's a song in Trinidad, "Eartha Run Red." That was the big song at that time, and I think that if you're back home in Brampton, that's the same thing that we all connected doing talent shows and listening to music. So, I'm not just saying that because I'm a musician, but I think it is the most universal thing on the planet other than air and water, right? Um, Air, water, music. I mean, everything else is, comes after that.
Many artists look forward to a record deal. They want to get that recording contract. And when artists hear that you signed from a cold call,
Hmm.
they're going to want to know how the heck did you ever get to do that? So tell us how that all transpired, how you got signed from a cold call.
So, to clarify, it wasn't a traditional record deal, and it was more like a distribution deal, right? So 30 Tigers, I don't know if you're familiar with 30 Tigers. They do marketing and they're a marketing and distribution company, very phenomenal. They have artists like Jason Isbell. They have I think Alanis Morissette's there now. I think the Tyler Childers, Sturgill Simpson. I'm missing some artists, but they've had some phenomenal acts over the years. And I never wanted to, not that I said I never wanted to, I never saw myself going down the traditional record label route. Like, I'm not that type of artist. I never saw myself as the guy they're going to easily market. I've tried, don't get me wrong, but like once you kind of hear the conversations and how they go and you get enough no's, I'm not a guy who begs people for stuff. I'm not saying no shade on anybody else who does that. But once I hear enough no's, I just say, okay, how can I do this myself? And 30 Tigers has provided the opportunity for a lot of artists to do it themselves with a bit of structure as a label would have it, right? So
Hmm.
you set up your own label imprint, in my case, 22nd Century, and they will do the label services essentially, right? But you got to make all the a lot of the decisions. They'll help you and they'll guide you because they don't expect artists to know how to run a whole label,
Right.
right? And it's a debatable conversation of whether artists should have to know how to do that or not, right? Um, and so, but the cold call was, so fast forward to this dream I had. I called my wife. I said, I just had a dream about Dave Macias coming into the studio, listening to the songs we're working on right now. You should call him. She calls him. He answers. Now, if I called David Macias today, he might answer, like, because he'll get back to me. He's a good dude, right? But it is hard to get a hold of David Macias. He's like spinning plates constantly doing. He's like a mastermind, right? So anyhow, so she calls him, he answers, and he's like, "Hey, send me some music." We send it to him. He's like, "Wow, big capital letters, exclamation mark. This is amazing. Let's get on a call." And then he signed us from that. You know what I mean? Which
Hmm.
was so two songs we sent him. One was The Architect's Hand, and the other one was called Breaking Ground. And little does he know, I probably shouldn't say this, but like I modeled one of those two songs after a Jason Isbell song, right? The whole structure is like the song that I love from Jason Isbell, right? Uh, so yeah, so that was so just yeah, it wasn't it was like he signs artists, he looks for artists, he signs artists, they help develop artists. So in a sense, it is like a deal. But the only difference is I own my publishing, I own my masters. They take a percentage of my ownership, right?
Hmm.
As opposed to them giving me a percentage of their ownership, right? Of my stuff that I created, right? So
You have been to the Junos with nominations, and many artists wonder like how do you get there? Some artists say, well, if you've got a record label behind you, that certainly helps you get to the Junos. Others have said, well, if you have record labels want to see that you've got millions of plays on streaming platforms, and that will get you a record deal or get you to the Junos. So what's been your secret to get to the Junos with your nominations?
I don't know, man. Like I don't think any of that stuff matters. There's artists that have label deals that don't get nominated. There's artists that don't have label deals that do get nominated. There's artists that have like 10,000 monthly listeners that get nominated, and there's artists that have millions of monthly listeners that don't get nominated or don't win it, right? So I think I don't like to like pat myself on the shoulder, but like in the folk space, I've made some noise, a little bit of noise. I feel like I can make a lot more noise, but I think there was a point where like the music and what it was doing, the numbers it was doing, especially so the Prospect record I did, I had two records nominated in our time and Prospect. So it's possible that like when I signed to 30 Tigers, do Tiny Desk concert, um, touring the US, whatever, um, the Canadian tastemakers, I don't know who you want to call them, like the Canadian industry people take notice to those things. Um, and then Prospect did some good numbers on that record. So I don't know, man. I don't know the formula. I don't know the answer. I just like I just think you just gotta create and if you believe in what you create, do your best to get it out there, get people hearing it. It's very difficult, more difficult now than it was on my last record. Um, I think go to the places where these people are. Like, I don't do that enough, I'll be honest. Everybody on my team wants me to be out more and be doing more social media. But I really believe, I still believe it. Some people say it's not as true as it used to be, but I believe in the song. I really believe in the song. And if the song can make noise, then people will pay attention. You know what I mean? And sometimes the song is great and you got to go out and make noise on behalf of that song. But if the song isn't good, if the songs aren't great, then people don't care, and it doesn't even. And even if the songs aren't great and you win an award, who cares? Like I don't care. You know what I mean? So it's the songs at the end of the day, I believe, right?
Well, let's get into one of the songs that I wrote. This song is a track from the album The Light Behind the Sun, which was released in 2025. It was produced by Rahki, who has also worked with Kendrick Lamar and Aloe Black. Let's take a listen to singer-songwriter I and his song, Humankind.
My mama once told me only two things matter: how you treat yourself and how you treat others. Throw stones at a glass house, watch the whole thing shatter. We're all broken pieces, trying to hold it together. We're divided by war, we're divided by pride. Carve up the whole damn world, 'cause we're divided by tribes. There's ties in the truth, I see me in your eyes. A mystery between us, we don't recognize. What would it take to remind us we can kill it all with kindness? Lord, help me cry, if we could be humankind. Had an old friend call me, hadn't seen in years. She fought overseas, fighting back the tears. She said, there's two things I've learned, only one is true. You could change the world, or it changes you, 'cause we're divided by war, we're divided by pride. Carve up the whole damn world, 'cause we're divided by tribes. There's ties in the truth, I see me in your eyes. A mystery between us, we don't recognize. What would it take to remind us we can kill it all with kindness? Lord, help me cry, if we could be humankind. My papa once told me, don't hold your anger, it's all skin deep. And they point their fingers, we're all just married, and what they don't see says more about them than who you can be. We're divided by pride, carve up the whole damn world, 'cause we're divided by tribes. There's ties in the truth, I see me in your eyes. A mystery between us, we don't recognize cause. Shame on the whole damn world, 'cause we're divided by tribes.
That was Humankind by I. Tell us, what is that song about and what was the inspiration to write it?
But I had this idea for a song called Tribes for a long time because my belief is that the world is divided by tribes more than we think about. We talk about race, we talk about religion, but like we create tribes for anything. Like what we sing on social media is tribalism. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But like the song for me is just about the idea that like kindness. When I talk about my travels all over the world, like I was greeted with a lot of kind people who helped me through difficult moments on my backpacking trip. And I think, if you get caught up in television or social media, you may get the feeling that like kindness has been sapped out of the world. People are so harsh online. There's so much politics and garbage. And I think if we just go back to, not necessarily being nice, like nice is one thing, but kindness is something that comes like from deep in your heart.
Mm.
I want to see the best for you. I want to see you become the best you that you can become.
Well, I would encourage people not to just listen to the song and the music, but listen to the lyrics, because they are some of the most thoughtful lyrics that I've ever heard on a recording. It's like every phrase, every thought is well thought out and strikes a chord with anyone who cares about their fellow human being. How do people find out more about you and your music? What's the website? What's the socials and the streaming platforms?
So ahimusic.com. If you look at AHI Music anywhere, you should find me.
We have been in conversation with I. Thanks for being with us.